Hi, it's Jace from drpremed.com, and I want to talk to you today about how ruthless it is about getting into medical school and what could go on. I recently posted about this on my email newsletter, and it didn't go over with some of the pre-med students because they thought it was a little too harsh, a little too tough that what took place. And what happened, give you a little bit background on what happened was students applying to medical school, which we all know happens every year. You have 52,000 plus applicants in medical school each year. And so I'm friends with AdComs at all the medical schools, well, not all the medical schools, but a lot of the medical schools throughout the country and stuff like that. So I kind of know what happens at each school with admissions and getting in or not. And so one of the AdComs told me that standard procedure for applying to medical school is that you're going to ask for the students who submit a headshot. So a photo like this from the neck up or so, just so that the admissions committee has that on file. And so what happened was a student thought they were going to be artsy, they thought they were going to be different, they thought they were going to stand out, and they put a different picture as their headshot. As you can see, that's what I had at the opening of this video that you're watching. That was the opening. What is I'm forgetting the term of it, like the cover sheet or whatever. We'll say that. So take a look at that picture. See how it had the red stripe going across the face, whatever. It wasn't totally identifiable who the student was, but when you're an AdCom and you were receiving over 14,000 applications for only 150 spots in your medical school class, what do you think is going to happen when you see somebody who sends in an artsy headshot photo? They got rejected, flat out rejected. They're like, we don't have time for this. This isn't cute. This isn't funny. You're not being professional. And so we rejected you. So all the hard work that they did just went down the drain. Whatever they got in their MCAT doesn't matter. Whatever they wrote in their personal statement doesn't matter. How good their GPA was doesn't matter. What type of extracurricular activities they had doesn't matter. That was just something that shouldn't have been done if you're trying to get into medical school. You don't want to play around. You don't want to buck the trend. I tell students all the time that adcoms are very conservative people. They want people who are going to be doctors, are going to treat people, and that just gives an insight into your professionalism, or in this case, the lack of professionalism that the student had. And some people like, Jason, that's really harsh. That's a little overboard. Why do adcoms even think like that? And the reason people are like, well, do they take the photos because they want to judge us and see how good we look or bad we look and stuff like that? I'm like, no, this isn't for dating purpose at all. That doesn't fit into the equation whatsoever. The reason adcoms want your picture, your headshot is because sometimes review applications might be couple days, more like a couple of weeks before they get back to a committee and making a decision with that. And it's easier to jog a memory if they can just flash your picture and they're like, oh, okay, I remember that student, what they wrote about. So that's kind of why they do it when they're in committee meetings. It's for them to jog their memory because everybody else, if you're just reading words on paper can only take you so far, but that picture helps you attach to what the overall was in that file to help you make an admissions decision. So weeks down the line, you can see what's happening. So yes, you have to be very, very cautious in everything that you do when you're applying to medical school. I don't think this is the time to show your personality, to be unique or anything like that outside of what's in your application, but definitely don't do it with your headshot or any other parts of your application. Like, oh, I'm going to write this really crazy, wacky story as my personal statement, or I'm going to do some crazy things with my secondaries. Don't do that. Be yourself and do what's professional. When in doubt, if you don't think it's professional, or do you think somebody could look at this and say, you know what? We're going to probably pass on this applicant because this is just too much of a risk, then don't do it. This is Jason, sign off for drpremed.com, giving you some admissions advice when it comes to applying to medical school, especially with your headshots, because you don't want one simple thing to derail 3 or 4 years of pre-med work, all because of you decided you want to be cute with a headshot for medical school, and then you get rejected because AdComs just don't have time for that.